These two people would con their way into the NHS and then work there for over 20 years. Oh, hi there, stranger. Today I'm going to be telling you two different stories about fake doctors. And before you think I'm taking you way back in time, both of these cases happened in recent history. So let's get to it. This is Zolia Alemi. Zolia worked as a psychiatrist in England for over 20 years after providing fraudulent qualifications to the General Medical Council in 1995. The documents she provided as proof of her qualifications were forged, although she did say that she gained her qualifications in the University of Auckland in New Zealand. Zolia had in fact studied at the University of Auckland, but she had failed a number of times and then eventually was denied the opportunity to re-enroll. She had also provided a forged verification letter to the GMC in which she spelled the word verify wrong. Somehow this was not picked up on, and so Zolia was able to start work as a psychiatrist in England. She started in 1998 and worked until 2017. As far as I'm aware, she didn't spend that whole time working in the NHS, but she did also work in the NHS. She was able to prescribe medication. She was in a position of power, and so she was able to section people for mental health crises and so on and so forth. Completely unqualified, mind you. She was reportedly paid around £1 million over the course of her career. Prosecution would later stress that that was a conservative estimate. Zolia worked all over the country and was seemingly never questioned on her credentials. The truth was eventually uncovered by a journalist, and Zolia was around 60 years old, it's believed, at the time of her arrest and then subsequent conviction. She was given a 7-year sentence for what the judge called a, quote, deliberate and wicked deception. The judge also pointed out the, quote, abject failure of scrutiny from the GMC and, of course, the fact that it had taken a journalist to uncover the truth rather than the governing body. Whoever would have thought that that would have even been possible? And if you thought that one was mad, then buckle up for this next one. This is Mohammed Saeed, born 1928 in Pakistan. Mr. Saeed was not just a creative con man, but also an identity thief. You see, Mohammed Saeed knew a man who had the same name as him, and that man was a doctor. And so Mohammed stole Dr. Saeed's credentials and basically cloned himself into the real Dr. Saeed using his medical certificate to open a fake practice in his hometown of Pakistan in around 1958. It worked, and eventually he decided to bring his scam to the UK. He would move over here in the early 60s. He would again present the real Dr. Saeed's medical certificate from the University of the Punjab to the General Medical Council over here in England. And then using that medical certificate and the qualifications of the real Dr. Saeed, he would con his way into the NHS, set himself up as a doctor, and open his own GP surgery in Bradford in 1961. He quickly became an established GP and a trusted member of the South Asian community, and he would build his practice up until it became one of the largest in the city with nearly 3,000 patients. And there are reports of his absolutely bizarre sort of recommendations to patients, one being a teaspoon of shampoo for a cold. I've seen this in articles, but I don't know where it's substantiated from. However, the bizarre prescriptions are an absolute fact. It was noticed by more than one pharmacist, but most would just adjust the doses accordingly. However, one pharmacist, the man who had the chemist that was next door to Mohammed's surgery in Bradford, he became very concerned about the frequency of the nonsensical prescriptions, and so he decided to photocopy some of them, well, 250 of them to be exact. And those photocopies would eventually be used as evidence against Mohammed. Well done to that pharmacist. So as I said, Mohammed built up his practice. He became a prominent figure in the South Asian community. He became very well respected and loved by his many patients. and he practiced as a GP for nearly 30 years. And he probably would have carried on until retirement, but he had an argument with his only son over money, and that led to a report being made to the police. The police investigation would take them all the way to Pakistan, but would eventually lead to Mohammed's arrest in January 1991 and eventual conviction in 1992 at the age of 64. I believe he served around 5 years, but I don't know that for sure. Mohammed is believed to have earned around £450,000 over the course of his fake career. And in the nearly 30 years of him practicing, the GMC did not receive a single complaint about Mohammed Saeed or his practice. The story is so unbelievable that it inspired a play called A Teaspoon of Shampoo. Mohammed Saeed would pass away in 2003. And that is two absolutely crazy stories of fake doctors right here in England in our NHS in recent history too. Special thanks to Stevie the Geezer for recommending that first one to me. If you guys have any story suggestions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. And as always, stranger, if you've stayed with me up until now, then thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next one.